there's a minig in Breslov and most Chassidim that are enikos of the Baal Shem Tov, on Achron Shel Pesach, to say over the story. The Baal Shem Tov was mitzvah to his children to say over the story of the greatness that happened to him personally on his Geula on Achron Shel Pesach. Most of it is taken, it's a combination from the Breslov version, but most of it was from the Skolya Rebbe on 45th Street and 18th Avenue that we used to go with Tati all the time. Every Achron Shel Pesach, we would go to listen to the story. Tati loved the story, the way he was a great storyteller, probably in addition to other things, I don't know, but we would go once a year, Achron Shel Pesach, to him to listen to the story. So a lot of the story I get from him, and I will try to indicate what is from him and what's from Breslov so that we have a pure version. So the Hashem is supposed to say, the Eibusher should give me the koyach to be able to express it and relate the ness, and that we should be able to internalize this ness for ourselves and to understand that we can have our Yeshua from this. So let's just give a little bit of a history before we go into the actual story of the ness. Who was the Baal Shem Tov? The Baal Shem Tov was about, I would say, I don't know the exact chronological time, but the Baal Shem Tov lived about 270 years ago, something like that. I would think in that range, maybe in that time, maybe 300 to 250 years ago, something like that, in that range of time. And before the Baal Shem Tov was there, the Baal Shem Tov said that he came to be Oiker, the Beis in Lamden. What was the Beis in Lamden? The Beis in Lamden was if you learned Torah, you were a tzaddik. And if you didn't learn Torah, you were a nobody. And Baal Shem Tov came to tell us, to teach us, that every Yid has a power, and we don't know the barometer of the Eibusher. The most famous story of the Baal Shem Tov, before we even go into his Leda, the most famous, because this is really Hakdama to the whole Chassidus and the whole thing of who the Baal Shem Tov was. There was the famous story where the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, everybody knew the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, where he called them the Shishim Geborim. There were the 60 giants. And David HaMelech says, until them Shishim Geborim, Sovivla, these were the Shishim Geborim. They were able to be poil everything in Shemayim. So it came Erev Yom Kippur, and the Baal Shem Tov saw that there was a terrible Gzeira on Klal Yisrael. And he told the Talmidei before Yom Kippur, he called all the Shishim Geborim, the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, and he said to them, we have to daven, there's a terrible Gzeira on Klal Yisrael, and we have to be mevatel this Gzeira. I'm asking you to mamish daven with your whole koiches, in your whole heart, to be mevatel the Gzeira. The story goes that, it was Kol Nidre, Shachris, Musaf, and right before Ne'ilah, before the Baal Shem Tov gives his speech, in walks in this shepherd who found the shul. His father had recently died right before Yom Kippur, and he knew he was a Yid, but he didn't even know Aleph Beis. He knew nothing. He was a shepherd. All he had was his sheep and his whistle that he would call his sheep with. So, but he knew that it's Yom Kippur. He wanted to find a shul just to be together, even though he didn't know how to daven. He wanted to be together with Jewish people. He felt that would be a remedy for his father's neshama. So he came and he walked in, to the shul of the Baal Shem Tov shul in Mezhebus. And as he walks in right before Ne'ilah. The Baal Shem Tov gives this big drasha, and he's telling everybody how you have to daven, that we still weren't mevatel the Gzeira, even though till now we weren't able to be mevatel. Maybe now, Ne'ilah, daven with your whole koiches, every kol atzmoisei tamarna, your whole bones should be talking, daven with your whole koiches. And the Baal Shem Tov, and this shepherd hears it, so they start Ne'ilah. And this guy, all the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, they're davening, they're screaming, they're dancing. They say on the Baal Shem Tov or Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, they start in one corner of the shul and end up in another corner of the shul because they completely lost, complete espashtus agashmias. So this shepherd sees everybody going davening so fervently, he doesn't know what to do. Finally, he takes out his whistle and he blows on his whistle with all his might. And the Baal Shem Tov turns around and starts becoming the simcha, and he tells the chavraya, this shepherd, he was mevatel the gzeira in Shemayim. What's the moral of the story? If you think about it, to blow a whistle on Yom Kippur, maybe you could say it was Ne'ilah, the end. I don't know when the story happened, but it's a deraisa. You're not allowed to blow a whistle on Shabbos. It's called a klishir, and you're not allowed to blow a whistle. So you could say, you can zogen, there's my own pshat here, but can zogen, that even if a person doesn't have Ve'er L'Shma, but he does it with the ganze heart because he wanted to connect to the Eibush, he didn't have Ve'er, he did Issa D'Oraisa, but he meant it. He didn't know he was doing Issa D'Oraisa, and he meant it 100% L'Shem Shemayim. He had the power to break a Gzeira that the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov and the Baal Shem Tov alone couldn't break. That means the message here is that's what Hasidus taught us. That's what the Baal Shem Tov taught us. That's what the Rebbe teaches us. That the whole Mekoyer of Hasidus is to show us that we don't understand the power of every single Yid. Every Yid has that power to be bigger than the Baal Shem Tov, and we think sometimes you got to daven 1,000 times, mikvah. Sometimes it's that one dibur emes, one real connection to the Eibishter, and you are, that's what it is. We should strive to be our L'chiyidin and strive to better ourselves and elevate ourselves. Everybody wants to learn more Torah and daven more and connect more. But understand that we don't know the barometer. We don't have the tape measure of connection. And that's the biggest thing that Hasidus gave us. What Hasidus gave us was connection. And the connection of us to Hashem, and to understand that we're always connected. And we have the ability to come in 1 second, to be connected. And that's what Bacha Rebbe, the Gemara says, Bacha Rebbe cried that that one person, the guy who, the story was Rabbi Akiva. I think it was Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, they put flax around him to burn him. That was the Gzeira on Rabbi Akiva. And the Shomer who was killing him, who was the Shomer, said to him, I see that you're suffering. They put the flax around you to suffer so that you shouldn't die fast. If I take off the flax, what will I be zoichet to? He said, you'll be zoichet to the same olam haba that I have. And he took off the flax, and Rabbi Akiva died faster, and he jumped into the fire, and Basko Yotza, the Basko, went out and said he was zoichet to olam haba, the olam haba Rabbi Akiva. Bacha Rebbe. And Rebbe cried. And he said, I think it's on this story. Bacha Rebbe cried where he said, 1 minute of tshuva, and the guy, my whole life, I worked on serving Hashem, and I don't know where I'm going to be in Gan Eden. This guy, in 1 minute, his Mesiras Nefesh, his thing for what he did for Rabbi Akiva, gave him the Olam Haba of Rabbi Akiva. And that's what Hasidus teaches us, and that's what we have to keep drilling ourselves, because the biggest enemy that we have is our own guilt, our Jewish guilt, that they implemented and they pumped us growing up in the system, which was good, because the system needed to protect us, but it also worked to our detriment, and it harms us when we feel that we can't connect to Hashem. Who am I to connect to Hashem when yesterday I did this, tomorrow I'm going to do this? We don't realize the ability is, and the Rebbe pumps it all the time, the ability is in the high yom in Kollel Toras Chaim. This minute, if I'm going to listen to Hashem, I have this minute. Forget about yesterday, forget about tomorrow. Right now, our power over the Yetzer Hara is in one thing. The Yetzer Hara only has a koyach in the past and in the future. He has no koyach in the present. Anoichi Hashem Elikecha. Hashem is Yud Kei Vav Kei Havaya. Havaya means presence, in the present. The Eibishter gave us a gilu. Before we went out of Mitzrayim, he said, Eke Hasheke. He said, I will be. And he gave us the koyach of wanting, the Anozam and the Mehevi, that we want to be. But once he came to Mountain Torah, he gave us the Torah gave us a power of the presence, of Havaya. Anoichi Hashem Elikecha. I am your God today, and I will take you out. That I was the God that took you out of Mitzrayim, which is a whole word for itself. I don't want to get carried away. So anyway, that's the word of who the Baal Shem Tov and what the whole concept of Baal Shem Tov. But the Baal Shem Tov was born, it's known, Baal Shem Tov was born to his father and mother, which is a story in itself. It's too long, not for now, but there's a story, and I don't know it, honestly, to be exactly. I remember hearing it, but I don't know it exactly. But his father was, they say, the father was Makubal. And this I heard from the scholar Rebbe, Makubal Ish Mi Pi Ish, which we're going to go into the Ish Mi Pi Ish. A lot of times you're going to hear that. But it was Makubal Ish Mi Pi Ish, that the father of the Baal Shem Tov was like Avram and mother, was at the age of Avram and Sarah. He was 100 and she was 90, I think 90, 190. And because in order to come to bring such a big neshama, it had to be someone who completely conquered his taivas already. And it was at the age where his taiva, there was no taiva anymore. And the Baal Shem Tov was such a kadosh alien, came from such a holy place, that in order to bring that neshama, they had to come onto this. So anyway, Baal Shem Tov's mother died at childbirth. And the Baal Shem Tov's father lived till the Baal Shem Tov was 3 years old. And those 3 years, whatever, I don't know the exact history into it, but the one thing Tati used to say this all the time, by the way. Tati always said this story. That Baal Shem Tov's father, right before he was passing away, he was 3 years old, he told him, the only thing I want to tell you is remember this for your whole life. Never be afraid of anything in the world except for Hashem. The only thing that you should fear is the Eibishter. Don't fear anything but the Eibishter. And Baal Shem Tov, his father passed away, and he became a Yosem now from both his parents at 3 years old. So the people in the city that he was in, they sort of tried to bring him up, to raise him. And he would go, and he was a troubled kid. When I say troubled kid, is they didn't know how to deal with him. He was a really, really big tzaddik, but he was hiding his because everybody knows Baal Shem Tov hid it tremendously. And he made himself into a schlepper and a yosem and a nebuch and a this. And whatever they tried to do for him, you can never please this guy. He was never pleased. So he didn't last very long in each place, and he had his intentions. He went from, at this young age, you're talking about from 3, I don't know, again, chronologically, I tell you exactly when. The Rebbe had more chronological knowledge, but on the Baal Shem Tov, I don't know the exact timing, but for a long time, he was in this stage of going from city to city, and what he would do is he would become the shamish of the shul. The Shmuel, Shmuel? Shmuel in Alaska, that's who the Baal Shem Tov was. Maybe Shmuel's the Baal Shem Tov, I don't know. But that's who he was. I'm trying to picture it. What's the picture of what? And maybe even worse than Shmuel. You say Shmuel still put together this. It could be he was mamish. Who knows? He looked like the shlump of shlumps. He looked like he was not. He pretended he was socially awkward, completely, maybe even autistic or mentally retarded people. Who knows? Who knows to what extent it was? Anyway, Baal Shem Tov. So the story is that, so how was he mefarnes himself? So he would become the bus driver. Those days there were no bus drivers. So the kids, how did they go to shul? They would go. There were little houses all over the forest, and then there was one central place that they all came to, a day camp house where they all came to, and that's where the Melamed would learn with the little kids. So who would take them through the forest from the houses to the kids? The bus driver was the Baal Shem Tov, and they would go through the forest every time, and the Baal Shem Tov used the opportunity to take the kids, and he would sing songs with them to Hashem and pump them with Amunah. And it's brought down that he was 6 years old at the time. So again, we have to believe. There's a famous thing from the Satmar Rebbe. Satmar Rebbe says that if you believe every ma'aser of Baal Shem Tov, you're a nar, you're a fool. But if you don't believe any ma'aser of the Baal Shem Tov, then you're apikoros. So we believe everything, and we're not fools, because we really believe that if it happened, and if it didn't happen, it could have happened 100%. So I'm just repeating what I heard from wherever I heard it from, and hopefully that we were trying to, the whole thing of this story is about Amunah, about strengthening our belief in Hashem. Anyway, so one day, the Baal Shem Tov is taking these kids, he collects all the kids from all the various houses, and he starts walking through the forest. And all of a sudden, the Yetzer Hara, he couldn't take the fact that there was so much, Shemaim was having so much nachas from these kids singing, and the Baal Shem Tov pumping them with Amunah. So he disguised himself as a beer, the Yetzer Hara, and he came to, as the kids were walking by and going to the thing, he went, arr, arr, and he scared the king. Scared, I don't want to say what out of them, okay? And the kids ran back home. Everybody ran back home, and they didn't go to learn. So the next day, Baal Shem Tov went to pick up the kids again. And because the Yetzer Hara didn't have the reshus to harm anybody, but he scared them. So anyway, the next day he went to pick up the kids, and the parents would not let the kids go because the kids were complaining. There's a beer in the thing. Anyway, Baal Shem Tov kept begging the parents, I'm begging you, I promise you, and again, 6 years old, but yeah, we believe. I promise you, and I promise you that he kept telling them until he reassured them, I promise you that no harm will come. I will take care of the beer. And I guess not all the parents, some of the parents let the kids go, and Baal Shem Tov went back into the thing. And again, the beer, the Yetzer Hara disguised himself as a beer, and he scared them, and it's brought down ish mipi ish, that the Baal Shem Tov said the Shem HaMeforish, which is the Shem of Hashem, and the beer died on the spot. And they continued going, and he was able to continue going the thing. It's one of the stories in the youth of the Baal Shem Tov. But anyway, let's go on. Later on in Baal Shem Tov's life, again, I don't know the chronological time, but I do know that he was an older bacha. I don't know what that means. That in those days they got married at 13. He definitely didn't get married at 13. What age exactly he got married? I'm sure there are people that know. I don't know. But I will say like this, that when it came time, the Baal Shem Tov used to go from city to city, and when it came time when he came to one of the cities, he came to a city with a lot of people who did not know how to learn. And he became like the Rav of the city, not because he knew how to learn, but because they were so, Chelm. I don't know if you ever heard of Chelm. There used to be a place called Chelm. Everybody knows Chelm was a place of people that they didn't know, they think that they didn't know. Anyway, so Baal Shem Tov came to this place. They made him into the Rav. So anybody who had a din Torah, they would come to this Rav, and they would come to, and it was known in the city that both sides, which is a big, big chiddush, because usually when you go to din Torah and you lose, the loser is not happy. The winner is happy, the loser is not happy. But they went, and here, everybody worked out happy. Well, how could it be? He made it in Torah. It's not because of the compromises. There was some kind of a heavenly, divine thing that when we're talking about the Baal Shem Tov, even though he was nister, he used to learn by night and hide himself and go into the fields for years and years and years. He would go through from Shabbos to Shabbos in the mountains. He would go just to have his avodas day and night and connect to Hashem. We can't even understand his avodas. Anyway, so the Baal Shem Tov. There was a big tzaddik by the name of Rabbi Avram Kiteva. Rabbi Avram Kiteva, when he came into the city, he had a din Torah. One of the guys of the city, they had some business, and he was already a learned person, and they had business. So the other person that he had the din Torah with, he said, okay, let's go to our Rav. We have this our rabbi over here. When everybody goes out, both sides are happy. So come to our din Torah, and both sides are going to be happy. He figured, he's losing this Torah, this gotta be thing. Anyway, he walks into the Torah, and Kachava, the guy walks out, and he realized, Avram Kiteva, he was no dummy, he realized there's something bigger about this person. So after the Torah, he went over to Baal Shem Tov and he says, listen, in order for somebody to be able to do such a thing, even though you're hiding yourself, and you must be hiding yourself, there's something divine. Tell me, what is it that you have? And Baal Shem Tov said to him, I'm going to tell you something, but you have to give me a tkiyas kaf, that you're not going to tell anybody. He goes, what? He goes, the only person you're going to tell is your daughter. He says, I'm telling you that Hashem gave me your daughter to be my bazivuk. And I want to make a tanayim with you now, and we should make up, and you should tell your daughter, and again, this is Mekibel Ish Mi Pish from straight to the Baal Shem Tov, that when somebody is going to, she should not accept any shidduch, but when somebody comes to him and he swipes his forehead, and she's going to see the Shem Havaya and fire the Geoisius, that's the person that she should marry. And no one in the world is allowed to know but him. And then the Baal Shem Tov told him, you should know. He was Megala to him, Torah, and showed him who he was, but he made him swear tkiyas kaf that he's not going to tell anybody. Anyway, Rabbi Avram Kiteva was the Rav in the city of Brod. And Rabbi Avram Kiteva went to the city of Brod, and as he came back, he told us to his daughter, and shortly afterwards, he was nifter. So his son, Reb Gershon Kiteva, he became the Rav, and he was a tremendous Talmid Chacham, and tremendous Rav. It wasn't just the Rav of Brod, but all the neighboring cities. He was mamish like the Reb Chaim Kanievsky of today, Reb Gershon Kiteva at that time. He was he was known in his surroundings as that person. Anyway, the kid said the father passes away a short time afterwards. He has an obligation. We know, Mayor, right? He's Simon. There's an obligation. You got to take care of your Yisayimim now. Now the father passed away. You got to take care of his Yisayimim. So he tried his sister. He tried marrying off his sister. He brought the best bachrim from the best yeshivas. Rabbi Avram Kiteva's daughter Reb Gershon Kittel's sister, this shidduch, they were giving only top-notch shidduchim, sending from all over the side. So they sent to him all the bachim, and no matter what bacher came, she said no. Till she came to a place that he did. The Reb Gershon Kittel went to his sister. He says, "Listen, I'm bringing you the best bachim. Tell me, what is it?" Till it came to a place that he started with miyayish. They kept reading shidduchim, and he said, "She's saying no to countless number of shidduchim. I can't deal with it. There's nothing I can do about it." Anyway, in walks to the city, into the shul of the city, Shmuel, the Baal Shem Tov, Srulja, okay, let's call him Srulja, walks in, Shlumpy Srulja, with his tzitzis out, with his, just imagine how he looked, okay? And he comes in and he says, "Can I speak to the Rav of the city?" He goes, "What are you here for?" "Yeah, I'm here because I want to be Mishadach. I heard that they're looking for a shidduch for his sister. I want to be Mishadach with his sister." The Shabbos in the shul is embarrassed to go over to Reb Gershon Kittel and to tell him, okay, this is my own added flavor into the story, but I don't know if it really happened. But anyway, the Shabbos goes over Reb Gershon. Reb Gershon says, "Listen to me. There's no way," he thinks to himself, "this guy's really for real. I mean, how am I going to hurt him? Can you hurt Shmuel like that? What are you going to do? Shmuel says, I want to go out with your sister. What do you tell him?" So the same thing that he said, but he knew there's one thing he has smart, right? His sister declined every single guy in the world that he brought. For sure, she's declining this guy. You understand? Anyway, so she comes and he says, "You know what? Okay, tell him he can go." Okay, he comes, they set up the meeting, comes into the shidduch, and of course, the Baal Shem Tov swipes his thing, Shem Havaya, Fire, the Geisa. She says immediately, yes. She walks out 2 minutes later, again, my version. 2 minutes later, she goes to her brother, "Mazel Tov, this is the boy." He falls, faints on his face. "What are you, crazy?" She says, "Before you make this shidduch, let me just fire him. Let me see." She says, he starts firing him Gemara, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He starts firing him Chumash, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He starts firing him olive base, and he mixes up the olive base. He says, "Oh, you give out. What am I going to do here?" He goes back to his sister. He says, "Listen, I can't stop you, but I'm telling you, you're making the biggest mistake. Everybody else you decline. This one is what you're taking, but I'm begging you. You're embarrassing me. You're going to be embarrassing me. Please move out of the city. I can't have this Shmuel over here being my brother-in-law in my city. So please move out of the city. And no problem. You want to go marry him?" They made a real quiet wedding. He moved out of the city. They moved into a place where nobody lived. And it was like 30, 40 kilometers. It's brought down somewhere. I saw that was the distance, about 30, 40 kilometers away from the city of Brod. Anyway, now you're reminding me of the story, and I'm remembering it like I'm starting to live it. Yeah, maybe. See, this is what I need you for. Anyway, so so there was a Maggid, famous Maggid. So one second. So Baal Shem Tov went with his wife, and he lived in this thing. Nobody bothered him. Reb Gershon Kittel completely forgot about him. Everybody forgot about the Baal Shem Tov, right? And he was able to do his avodas Hashem. Anyway, story goes that there was a Maggid that he used to go. You know what a Maggid is? A Maggid was that in those days they would have people, like we have entertainment, and Jewish entertainment, where they went from city to city to be mechazik people, to be ma'ira people, and they would say drushes. They were good speakers, great speakers. Why? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, why was considered a Maggid, and he would go. How would he make partners? He would go from city to city. He was the guest speaker of that Shabbos, and he would come. So there was a Maggid, I forgot the name, but it's brought down, it's documented the name of this Maggid. He would go from city to city. Anyway, there was this Shabbos that he was going. It was a big Shabbos. Let's just say Shabbos Nachman. I don't know what Shabbos it was. It was a big Shabbos, and they invited him to come say in the city of Brod thing. Anyway, those days, they didn't have, transportation was horse and buggy. And he went with enough time to make it for Shabbos. Anyway, he got a flat tire. You know what I'm saying? His wheels broke. I don't know exactly what happened. The horse went out of breath. It broke down, and it's getting close. It's Friday afternoon. He went with enough time to make it for Shabbos, but it's Friday afternoon, and it's getting closer and closer to Shabbos. They can't fix it. There's nobody there. They're in the middle of... And this Maggid reminds himself, Reb Gershon Kittel has a brother-in-law that lives somewhere in this neighborhood. He starts trying to find out, and he finds out that he's not far from this place. So he realizes he's stuck there for Shabbos. Let me go in there. You know what? What am I going to do? I'm going to, that's the only place he knew. So he went into the thing, and he knocks on the door, comes in, Mamish, Erev Shabbos, like right before Shabbos. And the wife of the Baal Shem Tov opens up the door, and she says, listen, I got stuck here. I was supposed to go to City of Brother. I know you're the sister of Reb Gershon Kittel. Is it okay if I stay here for Shabbos? So she goes, sure, but my husband, he doesn't come home until very late tonight. So don't wait for him. He says, no, I'm going to wait for him. Anyway, he comes into the house, and he sees hanging next to the door, there's a chalif. Chalif is the knife that the sheikhtim use as a chalif. And he just, while he was waiting for the Baal Shem Tov, he, you know how you check a chalif? I don't know if you know, with your finger. He never saw such a straight chalif in his life. And he knew that this guy was Amaretz, that Reb Gershon Kittel was sent him out of the city, because how does he have such a chalif? How does he know the halacha? He was wondering, how does he know? Anyway, the kitzah, Baal Shem Tov comes back Friday night from shul late at night. He sees that he has guests, and he invites his guests to eat the Shabbos meal together, And the Baal Shem Tov says to him that, say Torah, say something. So he starts saying a lofty Torah, whatever it is, and he realizes Baal Shem Tov doesn't understand a word he's saying. So then, Shabbos morning, again, Baal Shem Tov asks him to say Torah, so he realizes that he's got to lower the level. So he lowers the level. Baal Shem Tov says, I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about. Can you please say something? You're my guest. Say something that's going to inspire me. He realizes he keeps going down Madrigas. Okay, let me just tell him the stories of Avraham Avinu and Yitzchak, Yaakov. That's it. Anyway, till finally he realized Baal Shem Tov knows nothing. And when he realized that, he couldn't believe Reb Gershon Kittel, his sister, married such a thing. He's there for Shabbos. Imam just wanted to run away. He was in such pain for the tzaddikim. He wanted to run away. Anyway, comes Shalosh Shudas, and Baal Shem Tov starts saying to him, listen, till now, you said Torah. My minig is Shalosh Shudas, I say Torah. And this guy's thinking to himself, oh my gosh, he's going to now say Torah to me. This guy's telling me the Torah. And he says, okay, I have to hear the Torah. So he starts saying the Torah. And he starts saying all of a sudden, and he starts like with Pasha the Torah, and all of a sudden, he starts saying crazy Torah. And till this Magid falls chaloshus, he faints. He couldn't believe it because he went from such an extreme to such an extreme. Anyway, the kid says he wakes up and he realizes that he's in the presence of such greatness that is not to be believed the greatness. So the Baal Shem Tov tells him, he says, listen, in Shemayim, it came the time for me to be Nizgala. I want you to go to the city of Brod and to tell my brother-in-law, Reb Gershon Kittel, that you were by me, and that he should invite me back, and that you saw what you saw, and that he should invite me back to the city of Brod to he should be Makar of me, and I need him because I want to be able to now help other Yidden. And that's the story of how the Baal Shem Tov was in this gala and how he came to Reb Gershon. At the end, Reb Gershon Kittel became his chassid, not Stam his chassid, his biggest chassid, okay? One of the biggest chassidim of the Baal Shem Tov, and that was when the Baal Shem Tov was Megala himself. Anyway, that's just a brief history. I don't know if it's so brief, but that's the history